In the heart of the city stood a building long forgotten by time, its walls whispering secrets of the past. For years it had stood empty, its windows vacant eyes staring blankly into the urban jungle below. But today was different. One person dared to venture inside. He stepped over the threshold and vanished into the abyss. This is the story of the forgotten floor. The man walked through the glass doors and into the lobby. It was instantly clear this place hadn't seen foot traffic in decades. Cobwebs draped the grand staircase and dust lay thick on the checkered floor. An old wooden elevator was the only feature that seemed out of place in the sea of disrepair. Still, he pressed the button. The bell jangled discordantly before the door slid open. He stepped inside and pressed the button for the top floor. But the elevator didn't move. Instead, the lights flickered ominously and the cable car began descending. As it descended, the numbers on the wall flashed past his eyes. First floor, ground floor, basement 1, basement 2. Finally, the elevator stopped and the doors opened, but the floor indicator read -1. There was no such floor listed before. Hesitantly, he stepped out. The space was dimly lit by a flickering fluorescent light overhead. Filing cabinets and stacks of dusty boxes were strewn about. Cobwebs hung from the corners and a thick layer of dust covered everything. He coughed, his voice echoing in the vast emptiness. Where was he? The last numbered floor was basement 2. How could he be below that? And why had the elevator gone down so far? Was there even a basement 3? What was this place and how did he get here? Why? He turned to leave, but as he did, he noticed something strange. All the walls seemed to be covered in what appeared to be old wallpaper. It was peeling away from the walls, revealing a dark, tar-like substance beneath. He reached out to touch it, then pulled his hand back quickly. What was this place? And how could he escape? As he ventured deeper into the labyrinth of the building's boughs, whispers echoed around him. Though when he stopped to listen, he couldn't make out any words. Shadows danced just beyond his vision, darting between the filing cabinets like phantoms. Then he saw it. At the end of the hallway stood a door adorned with a brass nameplate that read Archive. Curiosity piqued. He pushed the door open. Inside. Thousands of filing cabinets lined the walls, their steel surfaces dulled with age. Each cabinet was meticulously organized, containing countless documents and files. But when he examined them, he saw that the folders were filled with gibberish, random letters and numbers, with nothing else of significance. Some documents bore names and addresses, but they were all unfamiliar. He felt a growing sense of unease. Why had he come to this place? What was it doing here? Why did it feel like he'd been here before, even though he knew he hadn't? Was he going crazy? Suddenly, he heard footsteps behind him. Turning, he saw a man walking towards him, his face hidden in the shadows. The man seemed to be made of darkness, his form shifting and swirling like smoke. Fear gripped him. Who was this? What did he want? Why was he here? But before he could flee, the shadowy man spoke. His voice was raspy and hollow. "You shouldn't be here," he whispered. "This place is best forgotten." Then he vanished. He turned and ran down the hallway. But as he fled, he realized that the walls were shifting and changing. The exit he'd used to enter now blocked off and sealed. The room was looping back onto itself, trapping him inside. Panic surged through him. How could he escape this place? Why was it trying to keep him here? What did it want? The floor beneath his feet seemed to ripple and distort. One moment he was running down a straight hallway, the next he was in a smaller, narrower corridor. He ran blindly, crashing into filing cabinets and sending boxes tumbling to the floor. But there was no escape. The building was alive, breathing, its very walls reaching out to grab him, to hold him forever. He collapsed against a wall, gasping for breath. What was this place? Why was it torturing him? Would he ever escape? Suddenly, he heard a voice behind him. "Why do you resist?" it asked. "You belong here. This is your home." He turned to see the dark man again. His eyes were glowing red, burning into him. "Who are you?" he whispered, his voice hoarse with fear. "What is this place?" The man smiled, a cruel, twisted grin spreading across his face. "This is the forgotten floor," he said, "and you are its new prisoner." With that, he lunged. He screamed and scrambled away, but the man was quick, too quick. He was upon him in an instant, his cold, dead fingers digging into his flesh. "Let me go," he cried. thrashing wildly. But the man only tightened his grip. "You can't escape," he hissed. "This floor will keep you forever." Then he leaned in close, his hot, fetid breath washing over him. "Join me," he whispered. "We can rule this place together." He struggled against the man's grip, but it was no use. The man was too strong. "Help me," he cried out, his voice echoing through the empty building, but no one came. He was alone. With a final burst of strength, he broke free and stumbled down the hall. He could hear the man's enraged shouts behind him, pounding down the hall, gaining on him. He ran as fast as he could, desperate to escape. Then he saw it, an opening at the end of the hall. Hope surged through him. He burst through the opening, and into a stairwell. Taking the steps two at a time, he raced upwards, desperate to reach the surface. He could hear the man close behind, his heavy footsteps echoing on the stairs. "Please, please, let me get out of here." He stumbled out of the stairwell onto a floor above. He was finally free, or so he thought. As he turned to run, he saw another stairwell across the hall, and at the top of the stairs stood the dark man, his face twisted in a cruel smile. He was trapped. There was nowhere left to run. He backed away slowly, keeping his eyes locked on the man. "Don't move," the man commanded. "It's over." He took a step forward, and the man raised his hand. "Stay away from me," he pleaded, but the man kept coming. He was almost upon him now, his dark form looming over him. "I won't hurt you," the man said softly. "We can be together here. We can rule this place." He shook his head frantically, tears streaming down his face. "No, please," he cried out. "I don't want to be here anymore." But the man only smiled, a twisted, evil grin spreading across his face. Then suddenly, he was upon him, his cold hands gripping his shoulders. "It's too late," he whispered. "You're mine now." And with that, he dragged him back into the darkness. He found the elevator and rushed inside. He pressed the button for the ground floor, but when the doors opened, he saw that the panel was bare. There were no buttons, no lights, no floor indicators. He tried the door handle, but it was locked. Panic surged through him. How could he escape? What was this place? Why was he trapped here? Just then, the doors began to close. He slammed his body against them, but it was no use. The doors kept closing, and as they slid shut, he screamed. When the doors finally opened, they revealed only blackness. The power was out, and the shaft was filled with an unnatural darkness. He groped for the switch to turn the lights on, but his hand met only cold metal. Fumbling, he found the emergency phone and dialed 911, but only static answered him. Then, he heard a voice, looking for someone. It said, "Looking for an escape." He whirled around, his heart pounding in his chest. "Who's there?" he cried, but there was no answer. Only the sound of his own ragged breathing filled the shaft. "Hello, is anyone there?" he called out, his voice echoing in the vast emptiness. But there was no reply. Only the darkness seemed to watch him, waiting, patient, all-consuming. He sank to the floor, defeated. The darkness was all around him now, pressing in, suffocating him. He closed his eyes, waiting for it to take him. Outside, the wind howled. Rain lashed against the windows, and thunder cracked overhead. Inside the building, the darkness deepened. The elevator swayed slightly, rocking gently from side to side. Then the doors opened, and a faint light spilled out onto the floor. A single word floated up from the darkness, a whisper on the wind. "Forgotten." Static filled the screen. Faint whispers could be heard, but the words were lost in the hiss. After a few moments, the screen faded to black. Some buildings are better left forgotten.